Good morning, all you fellow gardeners and Hypertufa makers. Today we are going to make Hypertufa Easter baskets. This idea came to me when I run across some old abandoned Easter baskets from last year. They were so cute I had to have them. So they seem to have a really good interior, and I thought that'll be perfect. So let's mix up some Hypertufa. Let's do it fast like they do those recipes. A gallon of Portland cement, a gallon of peat moss, and a gallon of vermiculite. Just pour those together into a large container big enough to mix, and mix it real well. You get all your dry ingredients blended together, and that's what they look like. They're kind of look like the vermiculite alone. Now I'm putting the water in from a gallon jug. However, I didn't use a whole gallon. I used about a half to 3/4 of a gallon for this amount of my mixture, and it seemed about right. It may have been just slightly too much water, but once you let it set for the 15 minutes and let it absorb, here's your basket, and you just start filling. You can see how good the ridges and everything are there on the interior, and it seemed to pick up real well on the surface that I wanted it to on the Hypertufa. So here's where I'm pressing it and trying to press it real firmly into the sides because I want those ridges to be defined. Now be sure to wear old shoes, old clothes. This old stool is what I usually use for Hypertufa. So everything looks pretty crappy here behind the garage, but that's my work area. But you can see that I'm pressing in. Be sure and wear gloves. Pressing the Hypertufa into the sides. Just kind of, press it just as hard as you can. Keep swiveling, and especially when you want to pick up the ridges. Now, I build my Hypertufa on the inside of a container. A lot of people turn it over and build it on the outside, but I just find it more convenient to bag it and everything by doing it on the inside, and especially when it's something that I want it to pick up those ridges and the interior. So right here you can see where I'm pressing it in hard. I bump it a few times to make sure I get all the air pockets out. Now I took a 2-quart pot to be the interior. I pressed it down inside, leaving, it's probably about a 3/4 inch or 1 inch side margin, just depending on the amount of room you have. Now you just have to fit the container that you have. In this one I built it up on the sides and then squished the pot down into the basket after it's all loaded with the Hypertufa mix, and then just kind of brushed off the excess, pressed down a little more here and there where I took too much off, so that I get a real smooth level side, at least as much as I can. So you see how well that one has turned out. There's my little bunny face. Now I do have a second one, and you can see the ridges inside there. I tried to stop the action here so you could see it real quickly. But this one we made a little bit different method. I filled up the bottom. I usually do fill a real strong bottom. And then we built it over the little the little bunny face there on the side, and then put the pot down into the basket, and then tried to squish the Hypertufa mix down the sides. It didn't seem to work as conveniently to me. I didn't like it. I liked it better, the first one, the pink one, where we, smushed it down in. I felt it was more solid because in this method, I kind of worried, am I pressing far enough down to get everything down underneath the ridges where I need it? And these are the two finished ones with their pots inside, and I get a garbage bag, set them down inside of it, and in this instance put them inside. Now what do we do with the leftover Hypertufa mix, you ask? Because I had a little bit left over. Since we made Easter baskets, we have to have eggs. So here we go making the eggs. I had a lot of these plastic eggs lying around from old Easters, and some of these were the hinged type, so the little top just pops off and you just squish your mixture down in there. Now as you can see on the past video, I put a little too much oil in the baskets because you could see it puddling and pooling. And in these eggs, I don't think I quite sprayed them and put enough because it was a little difficult getting some of them out of the container. But mostly I just squished it in hard and tried to pop the lid back closed after I smushed it as hard as I could. Now, I was a little hesitant when I tried pressing the egg back because I was afraid I'd get my finger close to that edge and then I would snip my finger and get it closed into that thing and get pinched real bad. But you can see this is one of the reasons why you need to wear gloves. But I think I filmed just a few, maybe 4 or 5, but we ended up doing about a dozen of the eggs. I figured that I could put those out for Easter to decorate the little baskets and everything, with the different colors, or leave them, the cement color if you'd like. But afterwards, I can form like a little nest arrangement with some twigs and vines and place them in the garden because I think they'll be a little addition, and I'm sure they'll age over time like the regular Hypertufa does and make a really nice, pretty arrangement. You, of course, do whatever you would think would be nice for you, but I think that would work out fine for anyone. Kids can do this, but the cement, I'm not sure I would want my grandson to handle it because it is harsh. Now, if we had small enough gloves for him, then I wouldn't see any problem. But otherwise, I wouldn't let the kids, do this part. Now, they can help color the eggs if you want to. Now here's where the eggs, I've only put them into a Ziploc bag, put them in the pantry floor for a couple nights, and then we've brought them back out to the potting bench to pull them apart. Now some of them kind of popped out easily, others we had to take a small screwdriver and kind of pry the little hinge open, and in some instances Jerry just destroyed the egg, and it doesn't matter. You know how often you get more and more and more of these little plastic eggs over the year, so it's not like you'll be out of those anytime soon. So I think he has the small screwdriver, a real tiny little like 1-inch one, and then we have an X-Acto knife, but the X-Acto knife, I was afraid that one would split if I tried to use it to pry, but it worked well just to kind of cut the side of the egg. So you can see here where it's, a little bit of a strain to press it, but we were unsure just exactly how delicate the eggs would be, and as it turned out, they are just as hard as rocks, basically like a little cement rock. There is a small ridge around them. You can see the ridge, some worse than others where it didn't press completely down, but there's not any problem with those. Now here's the colors that I got. The lower one was the red food coloring, the upper one is red spray paint. I painted a couple of those so just I could see the difference in how they might be. But what I'll be doing a little bit later, probably the weekend of Easter, I'll have my grandson over and we'll use food coloring to color. I may take a Dremel and kind of carve out a little bit of a decoration there. I could put, another line up, over, and above that line to kind of make a more of a decoration, or even make a zigzag star pattern, etc. But here's a cup here. Here's some red food coloring. I think I put about 10 drops in there, and that seemed to color the egg pretty well. I think I would stick with more of the darker colors like blues, or mix the red and blue for a purple, but you can see that. And here's where my husband painted the egg, holding it with my needle nose pliers that I weed with. I think he got a little close to the egg, and maybe that's a little more color than I wanted, but we had some red spray paint in the garage, didn't have to go buy any, so that's what we used. I took that film with my cell phone, which I should not have, and accidentally held it upright instead of landscape. So that was a problem to edit. Now here we are after we've dried a couple of days. We're getting ready to pull these out. We're starting with the blue, and that's the one where we incorporated the basket and built around the edges. It just wasn't as successful as I would have hoped it to be. It's a little hard getting that basket out, as you can see, because there are holes in the bottom of that pot, and of course the cement oozes between the holes and gets a really strong grip. But it makes a nice big planting hole in there for your whatever you're going to plant in that. I may try some bulbs or perhaps a little fern or something like that, and of course I will drill a hole in those. Now Jerry, my husband, is taking, I don't know what those things are. Are they wire cutters, pliers? I don't know what they are. But he's cutting down the sides. Now if you've seen one of my other videos where we did a similar type job for pumpkins, we used a propane torch and kind of melted the side and then cut. But I didn't want to do that this time because I felt that, the propane was hot, sticky, burny. So this was easier, and this vinyl or plastic, whatever that is, seemed to cut real well. So we just managed to ooze it down and off the pot. And once you get a few flaps cut, it'll release. And you just kind of pull it out, and you can see the great texture that I got. There's my little bunny face, and it turned out real well. You can see the I'm not sure if you'd call that a barrel stave or the ribbon wraparound that these particular baskets had, but I think it turned out real well. Now I went to get my texturizing tools, and Jerry meanwhile is taking that tool and he's kind of trimming off the edges. You know how the Hypertufa is just a little bit soft, almost like packed dirt when it first comes out of its first cure, and so he can like snip at that and pull it off. But then I like to take my rasp, as I've explained in a lot of other videos. I like to take a rasp and a wire brush and just take off the sharp edges, because I like to see a fairly smooth rounded edge that just won't look sharp. It'll look more like a stone that you find on the ground. So I'm going around and doing this whole thing all around on that outer edge, and then I'll need to also go around on that inner edge. And in this pot, as it is in a lot of them, the top isn't level. It's a little bit bumpy, and higher spots, lower spots, and depending on how you like that, you may find that natural and want to keep it. I would rather get mine just a little bit more uniform. So this rasp just kind of takes it off pretty easily. You just it's like filing your nails. You just kind of file that all down, and it comes off quickly. And as usual, you can see I don't have my gloves on. I should have some heavy gloves on, not even the rubber gloves. I should have on the regular gardening gloves to protect my hands when I'm using this kind of equipment. But I even think of it when I'm doing it, and I think, I don't want to stop now. I want to get this done. I want to take care of it. I'm so anxious to see how this is going to look. But we've got this one pretty smooth. I'm real pleased with it. I think these pots turned out really well, and be sure and put down in the comments and everything what you think about that, because I think you might want to save whatever baskets you may see and notice this year and evaluate those for Hypertufa mold, just like I do everything that I see. So you can see here's the basket to compare, and there's the Hypertufa basket. This Hypertufa can set out in the snow, wind, winter ice, rains, everything. I do drill holes in them. I'm not drilling today, but drill holes in them so that they don't puddle water. but they can be outside in the winter all the time, and they will weather very well. I have some that are 10 years old and they're just fine. Now this is the second pink one that we made, and this one was the one where I kind of filled it up and filled up the sides, and then we pressed the 2-quart pot down into it. And that one, as you see, the pot came out a lot easier, and maybe that was just the way it does when you do that method, or perhaps it just didn't grab the cement as much as the other one did. But we're doing the same, just using that knife to cut down through the plastic and kind of release it with a few flaps, enough so we can get down into the basket. Now that I left the handles on when we did these because it just made it easy to carry around a little bit and to work with, but I'm not leaving the handles on. Now, if that should be something that you like to work with, I know a lot of people put twig handles and vine handles. That would be gorgeous. I really do believe that. Okay, this one is getting ready to come out. It really wants to hold tight onto the edge, but you can see the definition is just as nice in it. Now, I don't see any difference in either of the two methods we did as far as picking up the mold markings, the bunny face, the barrel staves, and strapping marks. They both came out almost exactly the same. However, it seemed to me that the sides and everything worked better on the one that was pressed into the mold after we built up the sides. So just, try whichever method you think you'd like and see what you come up with. But here is the, I'm going to be doing the texturizing with the rasp, the same as I did with the other one. And we've got 2 here. Glad you watched. Same size because they came from the same type mold, and I will keep an eye out for more because when I want more I don't have any pots left. But that's what we've got for now, and thanks a lot. Hey, don't stop watching now. I've got a lot of other videos that you'll like. I've got making pumpkins, all kind of baskets, and big troughs. Be sure to like this video and move on and watch some more. And be sure to visit the website. There's a lot of lovely pictures over there for you to see. Thanks a lot for watching.